Now, in this video, I'm going to reveal why the path to financial freedom eludes so many people and why most people are looking in the wrong direction because it's really ourselves that become the biggest blocks, not opportunity, not the wrong boss or the wrong business or the wrong market, but ourselves. And how do we get past ourselves so that we can create a pathway to financial freedom? Now, what I'm going to share isn't new. In fact, the rules around money are ancient, but they've been distorted or, more importantly, hidden from the masses and the public for very specific reasons that you're about to find out. And when I reveal the three primary keys, it's all going to make sense. Now, I'm living proof that this works. I've gone from $250,000 in debt to generating tens of millions in business and profits. How do you do that? Well, the good news is it doesn't require hassle. It doesn't require working 100 hours a week. It doesn't require chasing your tail, hunting down money. It requires shifting three specific things in your life that you can do right now and allow the floodgates of wealth to really open up. So yes, in this video, you are going to learn how money works and why, and what you can do specifically to bring more of it into your life. Let's dive in with the first key. Now, the most important part of understanding how to create money is realizing that money is actually energy. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's break it down. I don't want this to be esoteric. I want this to be real for you. Well, if you think money is an object, a piece of paper, or a number on a bank statement, then you're going to externalize that and you're going to be trying to chase more of it in the outer world. But when I first understood that money is energy, the only place in the universe it means anything is in the mind of a human being. And money is an expression of our energy. And if you go to electricity, what is required for electricity to work? It needs a circuit where it can complete. And when you realize that you are generating energy at all times, the kind of energy you generate is reflected back in the amount of money or opportunities to generate money that you get. And most people are a one-way circuit. They're sending out effort, they're sending out hustle, they're trying to go get money that way. But when you realize that money is energy, you realize it has to circulate. And people are happy when they get money, they're unhappy when they give money. What if you were happy both ways? What if you could complete that circuit so that energetically you were in alignment with money? Because if you think about it, it's often said, one person's expenditure is another person's income, which means money has to go through a cycle. All money is in movement. If money's sitting there doing nothing, it doesn't generate any more money. So when you realize that money is energy and energy has to flow, right? If you consume a meal and you get a lot of physical energy, but you don't move, that energy's got nowhere to go. That's not what the body's designed for. The body is designed to have energy be expended and replenished. Movement and rest. So if you treat money the same way, and you're just as happy paying for something because you're getting an exchange for that, whether that's a coffee at Starbucks or whether that's an expense to your landlord to allow you to live in a place where you have a roof over your head. If you can treat money energetically and have that energy be one of thankfulness and gratefulness, whether it's going out, easy when it's coming in, then you're going to start to shift your understanding of the real rules of money. See, the true wealthy know that. They bless their payments when they write a check. They bless their money when they buy a coffee because they know that completing that energetic cycle opens up the path for more to flow in. If you're happy when you get money and you're unhappy when you give it, all that does is create blocks in the flow, kinks in the hose pipe that prevent that water from circulating through. Now, the second key aspect to understanding the rules of money is really important because it's no point having an intellectual understanding of money being energy if you don't apply the next step, and that is to rewire your nervous system. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you are just taking actions and intellectually about, okay, I get money's energy, but I still don't have enough of it. How do you rewire your beliefs, your unconscious emotional attachment to money? Well, there's a couple of ways I'm going to share with you. The first is to understand that while the body follows the mind often follows the face. See, if you are being able to create an abundant attitude where you're grateful for being able to give money, but you're doing it through gritted teeth or unconscious resentment, that's never going to work. But if you genuinely smile, as if you're paying somebody, right, and you want that money to do good for them, there is an energetic response to that. So that, wow, thank you so much for giving me that Starbucks. And you know that that money's going to do good things. It's going to pay for farmers in Ecuador who are feeding their family. It's going to pay for the college bills of the person serving behind the counter. You get in touch. You start to rewire your association to money, which rewires your nervous system around that. So now you don't see money going out and it triggers scarcity and firing cortisol into the bloodstream. You actually start giving money and you get associated to the fact that you're doing good in the world. And that replaces cortisol with things like oxytocin, things like dopamine. And you literally start to rewire your nervous system when it comes to your energetic connection to money. That is huge. That's one of the most powerful and the biggest rules of money that the uber wealthy, the members of secret societies, and all of the elite that have generated huge amounts of wealth constantly practice. They never treat money going out as a way to trigger fear. Instead, they use it as a way to trigger more gratefulness, more sense of self-worth that they're doing good in the world. And what does that do? When you understand money as energy, it creates the space to bring in more energy to do more good with. And when you can master that, you really start to master the rules of money. The second hack on being able to rewire your nervous system around money is what we call incantations. Now, how is an incantation different from an affirmation? Well, an affirmation is where you say something in front of a mirror or to yourself over and over again in the hope that it rewires your nervous system or changes your belief. It doesn't happen. Affirmations are useless largely because it only engages your mind. If you stand in front of a mirror saying, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, but part of your heart or your belief says, yeah, but I can't pay my credit card bill this month, it's doing nothing other than making you feel silly about an activity that isn't getting a result. But an incantation is different. An incantation is where you link the heart and the mind together so there's no room for doubt to get in the way. And you do that by bringing in feelings. So your nervous system is conditioned by emotion. And so if you say, I am wealthy, if you can't attribute that to money because there's nothing in the bank, attribute it to something you are wealthy about. Are you wealthy in love by having people around you that you can care about that care about you? Are you wealthy in the fact you can live in a society where you can walk down the street and feel safe, or you can fly to other countries that your ancestors were never able to do? Are you abundant in the amount of food choices you can make walking into a supermarket? Are you abundant when it comes to how much oxygen you can breathe? You find a way to say, I am wealthy, and attribute that wealth to a feeling that has actual authenticity in its expression. If you can do that over and over again and you get those feelings involved, you move or upgrade from an affirmation to an incantation where you get your body involved, you get your nervous system involved, you get your entire being involved. You feel the feelings of what it's like to be abundant, to be wealthy, to be loved, to be free. And that way, over time, your nervous system gets conditioned to feelings that are far more associated to abundance and high conscious levels of expression than scarcity, fear, and lack. And that is one of the ways you can start right away on rewiring your nervous system around wealth. Okay, so now you've started to understand the real rules of money and you've rewired your nervous system. You're starting to really appreciate money as energy, not some external thing to chase. This is where most people get things wrong. And it's the third key component. And that really is becoming the person who embodies this. Now, again, I don't want to keep this general. I want to make it specific. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that who you show up as is the critical component. And I want to give you a metaphor that I think is really going to help. If we go to Hollywood, people are familiar with movies and they're familiar with the stars of those movies. But what if I was to tell you that you also star in a movie, the movie of your life? Now, I know you're the star of the movie of your life because you are the only one who's in every single scene. Everybody else is either a film extra or at best a couple of people maybe supporting cast, your spouse or your loved ones, etc. So what does it mean to be a star of your own movie? Well, think about it. When you're walking around the movie set of your life, whether that's in the supermarket or whether that's at home or whether that's on the way to work or at your place of business, then if you retain the identity of you being the star of your movie, then you are going to live from a place of causing an effect rather than living at cause and effect. And so when it comes to your relationship to money, how do you stand in your power? You stand in your power by embodying the fact that you are the star of your movie. Nobody else sees the things that you see from your perspective. You are one of one. You are unique. You're an expression of God in its form of abundance. And when you realize that you've been so blessed to have been able to land the starring role in the movie of your life, there is a certain grounding, a certain identity that goes along with that. Now think about it. How does Brad Pitt show up on set? Is he worried about what the film extras think of him? Is he nervous about whether he can perform well or not? No. He knows he's the star of that movie. And he walks on set with a sense of ownership, not arrogance, but an underlying confidence, an underlying energy, where there's nothing to defend, nothing to prove, nothing to conquer, just a sense of knowing. So when you walk through your movie knowing it's your movie, there is an energetic shift that starts to embody the whole aspect of wealth and abundance. Now, when we look at these three key components, how you understand money as energy, how you start to rewire your nervous system to be in alignment with that, and how you take on the embodiment of being the star and center of your own movie, even from a place of wanting to contribute, but not arrogance, but a sense of ownership, of pride, of self-esteem, that you are it. That then translates into a much different relationship when it comes to opening up the floodgates for abundance to come through. Now, with those three components, you can go out and make massive differences very quickly, as I've done and a lot of my students have done, and really start seeing money and opportunities to generate money show up in abundance. Bills that haven't been paid for a long time, suddenly people show up and give money. These are stories I could count forever. However, if you really want to go through a deeper dive, a deeper understanding, and have me and my team want to work with you to really embody this so it becomes a natural expression of who you are, click the link, book a call. Let's see how we can help you. We are experts at really taking people from a scarcity mindset into an abundant mindset, from poverty consciousness to wealth consciousness. That's what lights me up now, by sharing the abundance I've been able to generate with other people so we can make this world a better place. There is no scarcity. There is no competition when you operate from these principles. And I'd love to be able to show you how to do that. So if that inspires you, click the button and really speak with one of my members of the team to see how we can help you. Now, if you're more curious about how to deep dive even further and go really to the bottom of the rabbit hole on how you can have an identity upgrade, and you'd like me to unpack the entire process for you, then click the second link and watch the next video in this series, and then I can promise you the blinkers will be off. But if you want the fast track, click a link, book a call with the team, and allow us to help you become the expression of abundance you were born to be.